Hello, welcome to a little video tour of our new motorhome, new to us that is. It's a 7-year-old, it's based on a Fiat Ducato cabin chassis with a 3-litre diesel engine, and it's had the motorhome added on by Frankia, which is a German company. That satellite issue's nothing to do with us, by the way, that's just where we are at the moment. It's 4-berth, so we can take 4 people as passengers, and we can also sleep 4 people. We have been told it can sleep 5, but we haven't actually worked out how to convert it to a 5th person. But anyway, the chances of us doing that are probably fairly remote anyway. So, taking a walk around the outside, we've got... First of all, we come to the protection door, the door in. We'll come to that in a minute. I'll shut that for a moment. Electric step, which is operated just inside the door. If we forget to put it up, then when we start the engine, it will automatically come up. So there's quite a good feature there, we think. This here is what's called a ski locker. And if I open it up and clip it back there, look inside, we've got a space that goes right through. You can't actually see right through at the moment because we've got it full of climbing stuff. Haven't yet got the ski gear in there, but take it from me, it does go right the way through to the other side. I'll show you around the other side when we get there. You can also access this from the inside, and I'll show you that again in a minute when we go in. That's the seat behind the driver's seat, so you can lift that up and access things. So we thought we'd keep shoes and stuff like that in there. So moving on around the outside, those are the vents there for the fridge, which you'll see inside when we go in. This is another locker, which in here is a spare toilet cassette. We think we're fairly lucky, really. Most have only one, but if we wild camp for a long time, then we can swap them over and put the full one in there and take that one out and use that one. So we think we can hopefully wild camp for a few days. That's the cold water fill, which we don't actually need to use because we've got an integral hose, which I'll show you around the other side. This is the toilet cassette in here, so that's the one in position. So you just pull up that orange lever at the bottom there, this one down here, lift it up, pull it out, and you can take it away and empty it. It's empty at the moment, so that's we're parked up. Then moving back, if I just close this up for a moment, you can see this is the garage at the back. So this goes right the way through. We've got stuff in here at the moment, and I'll just clip that back into that clip up there. Then you can see inside we've got, it's reasonably full in here. We've got in there the table and chairs all packed up and held in with this bungee cord. We think that's okay. We've driven up to Scotland from down in Warminster, and nothing moved. I mean, it's fairly secure in there. We've got in here a little gas burner, some tools, tow rope, jump leads, etc. Some kitchen stuff, and in that blue bag at the back is the chocks for the van if we're on an unlevel site and we need to ramp it up a bit. In this space here goes the 2 mountain bikes, which aren't at the moment because we've been using them, but we just have to take the front wheels off, put them upside down, and use that ladder that you can see on the floor there. That ladder's used at the back, but that will just sit at an angle and hold the bikes in and stop them moving around, we hope, as well. That little box there is the access from the inside. So again, we'll show you that when we're in there, and the steps up into the bed above, which is up there, which you can't see at the moment, that gives access into that. So moving around the back, it's the back of the thing, and you can see we've got a cycle rack on there that came with it when we bought it. We're not sure if we're going to use that or not, because we get the bikes inside, so there's probably no need for it. So we might just take it off, because although it can stay there and it's stored quite safely, we have heard that if we go to certain countries, then we need Italy being one of them, I think, then we need a board on the back to a warning board. Can't be bothered with that if we're not using it, so we'll probably just take it off. At the top there is the camera, rear view camera. There's two settings for that. You can see probably two lenses in there. One points straight down for when we park in, and we can see straight the way down to the back, and the other one is looking further out, which acts like a rear view mirror when we're driving along. Really, really useful on driving up to Scotland there, because it does mean that you can see what's behind you in that blind spot. So we think that's a real benefit on this vehicle. So moving round the outside, this is the garage door on the other side, so you can open that one, and it's open right the way through. So it gives a really good storage space, so we really like that. Moving on down the side here, this is where the electrics and the waste disposal are. So, that brace there is actually to lower the axle support, or the supports on the back. Let me show you those. And they're stacked up. Oh, you probably just see it in there. And you just put the brace on here and wind it down. This comes down onto the floor and provides good support in the back. So we haven't actually used it yet. We tried it and it works all right. One on either side, obviously, and that does give a bit more stability. In here, this is the hose. So we pull that out, and it's already connected inside to the cold water tank. So we just have to click that onto a tap and fill up the fresh water tank. This coiled up bit of hose in here is the grey water tank, and you can just hopefully just see it inside there with that little shut off valve. So we put this through this hole into the bottom, drag this out to a drain, and drain off the grey water. There's a seal in there. Hopefully you can just about see that in there. So that's sealed from the outside. And one of the benefits of this particular van is that it's got a double floor. That's the floor on the bottom, and that's the floor to the inside. So we've got this skin on the inside, which is blown heating through there, so it keeps it warm. Sorry, in the winter, so that we can actually apparently live in this quite happily down to minus 15 degrees centigrade, which was another reason for wanting to buy this van, because we do want to go skiing in it, and so it'd be very useful for that. So you can see that's the electrical connection in there. And I didn't add that the grey waste being inside will prevent it from freezing up, and a lot of vans which claim to be winterised have that drain valve on the outside, and that can then freeze up, and there's safety valves inside, which then open, and you lose all your fresh water and grey water. So we've got that, which is another good feature that we liked. Moving up into this compartment here is just a storage area, and so we've got another cable in there. We've got two cables. This is a 1.5mm cable, and the one we've got on the van at the moment is a 2.5, I think it is. So it'll take more current. This one takes less current, but in a lot of European resorts, we understand they only have a limited supply, and that's easy to use. It's only 10 metres long, whereas the one we've got on is 25 metres long. So that's much more useful. This is a little adapter we bought here. That will plug into the end of the electrical connection, and on the end of it is a Continental 2-pin plug. We've got a 3-pin one as well, which we're using at the moment because we've plugged into somebody's house where we are at the moment, just to keep the thing topped up. So we think that's probably quite useful. We'll see. So here we've got, this is the underside of the kitchen sink, and we've got access to all of the pipe work and the drain and so on, should we ever need to. This particular thing here is actually a waste bin in the kitchen, which you'll see when we go inside. So I suppose it might be useful, don't know, we'll see. So that's that. This is the vent for the boiler when we have central heating and water on. This here is a point for an outside shower. So we can plug it in there. We've got hot and cold water, so we can have a shower outside if we've been snorkeling or been on the beach or whatever, and we just want to hose off without getting the shower too dirty. Then we can use that, and we've got the shower fitting in that little box there, so that's ready when we need it. This is the gas locker bottle, and we had fitted a gas flow system which is connected to this little fitting on the outside here, and so that enables us to just go to a garage selling LPG, and we can just top it up. We don't have to wait for it to be empty, and it means that we can fill up anywhere they've got one of these LPG garages, and we thought this was a better solution than having the bottles. You just go and change a bottle at the garage, buy a full one and leave them with your empty one. But the problem with that is that on the continent they want to deposit, and each country seems to have a different fitting, so we end up with lots of different types of bottles, which we think is quite expensive and quite a problem. So hopefully with this system we've got a workable system. We can actually just top up with gas when we top up with fuel. Really, we haven't got to wait for them to be empty, so we're hoping that's going to be quite a benefit. That was something that people, Webb's where we bought it from, threw in when we bought it. Now this here is the ski locker on the other side. There's a much smaller opening on this side. Don't know if you can see, if I go into there, you might be able to see that's the climbing gear in there, which you could see from the other side. So hopefully when we get the skis sorted and in there, then that'll be much more useful and properly packed than it is now. We've got all sorts of spaces. You can't actually see it in here, but beneath the seat and round the corner there, it goes in even further, so we've got lots more storage space, accessible more easily from the inside. That yellow thing there is actually the wheel lock that we bought, and that blue thing is the air compressor. We don't have a spare wheel at the moment. It's one of these kits where you're squirting some fluid if you get a flat, and pump it up and go to the nearest station and have it repaired, or presumably replaced if you've squirted fluid in. You can't actually do anything with them, I don't think. So we're thinking about getting a spare wheel. We have been told that that's necessary in some countries, and we have actually got the rack fitted underneath, which is down under there. If you can see that rack there. We'll take a spare wheel, but there isn't one in there, so that's something we might do. What else can I tell you? Okay, that's about it on the outside. We've got the windows. Yeah, I think that's about. Oh, I can show you the solar panel. I'll have to get the ladder out and go up on the roof to do that. I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so I've got the ladder out. It's the one you could see in the back earlier on. It folds in half to store, so I'll open it out, and then it hooks on the ladder that's on the back there. Gets in the way of the bike rack a little bit, which is another reason for taking the bike rack off. But going up the ladder now, and onto the roof. Be careful. Okay. So here's the solar panel on the roof. It's a single panel. We think it's about 100 watts, might be 150 watts. We're not sure, and we don't know if that's going to be enough for us or not. It's certainly kept the batteries topped up to 100% while we've been parked here with the electrics off. Whether it will do that for a while camping, I don't know. Some people have suggested that 2 might be a better bet. Plenty of room to put another one on, and the fitting for it has got 2. I don't know if you can see that. Can I zoom in on this? Yeah, okay, yeah. So that little fitting there has got space for another opening as well, so it's something we might do if we feel we need it. So there's the roof vents on top, a bit dirty up here. Intend to wash it before we actually finally leave. So there we are. That's the ladder down there. I'll come down without the camera and catch up in a minute. Okay, I've put the ladder away and stowed it in the garage. And one more thing which I need to show you outside is the awning. Came fitted with an awning already. We have used it once. It was a little bit windy, so we had to put it away. Obviously I can't get it out now because it would be too close to the garage, but the handle and support legs are in the back of the garage, and we obviously connect it into that little bit there, wind it out. It comes out quite a long way, so I think probably over 2 meters really, so that's quite useful and probably will let us sit outside on days and evenings and you know, feel as though we've arrived. So we'll see. Anyway, okay, so time to go inside now. So I'll switch off and come back to you. Okay, so coming to our motorhome. Got the door open now. This is a little bin in the doorway. Blinds over that window there, and there's also a mosquito net if we want to use it. These are the buttons. So the bottom one is obviously the step, 3-pin socket for when we're hooked up to electrics, and then various lights controlling lights inside, which we haven't yet fully worked out, but hopefully we will. So moving inside, we come into the sort of lounge dining area, whatever you will. So there it is. Now I mentioned when we were outside, on the small side of the ski locker, which is just underneath that seat down there, you can take these up. I won't do it now, but it just held on with a bit of Velcro. There's a hatch under there. You lift the hatch and get access to that small area of the ski locker. Under here, there's the fuses and isolators and what have you, but there's also another hatch at the front here which you lift up, and there's a big void down into that area of the ski locker you can't access from outside, so we can keep all sorts of stuff in there. At the moment we've got some working clothes because we're going up to Scotland to help some friends, up to Elgin that is, and to help some friends next week. This is the dining table. It's a split thing here, so we can pull it out, and we've got a little extension which we keep in the under the seat down there, and so we can make a big table. And this is locked into the floor down there. See that lever there? You lift it up and turn it, and these are wheels down here, so we operate a lever somewhere, that lever there, and it puts the wheels down, and you can sort of wheel it around and put it into a more comfortable position to suit. So it has to be locked like that for when we're driving. So over this side is another seat, and let's see, Jackie's got a little substitute cat, but we can lift this up, and there's a flap underneath, and that's access into the large door of the ski locker. So we're thinking we might kind of keep shoes and stuff like that in there because we can get easy access to it, but we'll see how that goes. A couple of arms either side of the chair there, so you can make yourself really comfortable. These are the driver's seat and the passenger seat, they've got arms that come down. There's a button down there that you pull out and you can swivel them right the way around, so that you can actually have what would be a quite a comfortable sitting area. It would 4 people can sit very, very comfortably, as you can see. We have had 6 people in here, believe it or not. 5th person can sit along the side here, down there, and that's okay. It's still reasonably comfortable. Footroom is getting a little bit tight. And the 6th person was me, and I just put a chair in down here and joined in the conversation. So it actually worked out quite well with up to 6 people. So that's quite a good feature. It's one thing we like. On this seat, we haven't got them out at the moment. You just see one there. There's a seat belt and another seat belt the other side. And we've just tucked them away because it's more comfortable. But you can pull those out and 2 people can sit along there. I think one of the people will have to have their legs resting up there. The other person can sit normally, but anyway, we can take 2 passengers, which was a thing that we really wanted when we bought a motorhome, because although we don't necessarily think we'll have people to stay that often, we may want to transport people. If we meet some people and want to go for a long walk, a linear walk, we need to take them round and leave a vehicle at the other end, and it just makes life that bit easier for it. So up here now, above the cab, I'll show you the cab in a minute, but up here is what is the spare bed. So if I get up a little bit, then you can see there's a bit of rubbish up here at the moment. We haven't yet sorted this out. These are seat cushions to go on the driver and passenger seat to bolster them up a bit. They do lift and lower, but we just thought it might be useful to use those because it'll save wear on the cab seats. You see the feet of the ladder in there. It's quite ironic, really. The ladder to give access is out of reach unless you clamber up there and get it. But there we go. So a couple of reading lights up there. Curtain to pull across, so it's private and separate. And there's a little vent if you get a bit hot at night. So it's 2 mattresses. It's actually a double bed size, this. It's 2 metres long and 1.4 metres wide. So will take 2 people, and we think there's probably enough head height. It's a little bit snug, but yeah, it's okay. That's the fittings for the ladder to go into. And then one of the features we liked about this, I think I can do it without mucking everything up, is to be able to lift that up. There's little gas supports there to hold it up. And in that position, we rather like that because it gives a lot more space to get into the cab. You haven't got to sort of duck down and get underneath. So we'll probably leave it like that most of the time. So just sitting down now in the passenger seat, we went for a right-hand drive one, even though we'll mainly be travelling in Europe, or we expect to be travelling in Europe. We spoke to a lot of people, should we go for left or right hand drive, and the general consensus was, well, it doesn't really matter actually, nobody bothers, and they're probably easy to sell in the UK when we eventually come to that stage. Some people have said, I like a right hand drive because it means I can see the edge of the road. I don't know, but in any case, we've driven a car when we've been skiing for 3 seasons? I think it's 3 seasons we've done, and never had a problem. It just wasn't an issue at all. So that's it. It's a standard Fiat Ducato chassis. It's got air conditioning, which we had to have fixed because it wasn't initially working, but it is now. Radio, which we haven't yet worked out. We think it's fairly crap, but it might be just that we haven't worked out how it works yet. I don't know. Dash cam, put one of those in. Just figured that it's a 4.5 ton maximum load vehicle, so it means that we're restricted on speeds. We can do 70 on motorways, but we can only do 60 on dual carriageways and 50 on single carriageways, and it may lead to frustration with other drivers. I don't know. So we got a record of it. If we need it, we'll see if we use it. We got a sat nav, which is not on at the moment because we parked. It's a Garmin, specifically for motorhomes, because you can put in the maximum weight of the vehicle, the length, the width, the height, and it hopefully won't take us down roads that are unsuitable. I had lots of reports from people who say don't make any difference, it still does it, so I don't know, we'll see, but hopefully it'll be okay. This is the rear view camera, so it's right by the side of the steering wheel. You can see it, rather than look up there into that rear view mirror which just looks into the back of the vehicle. Don't know why it's there at all. This little device gives us our rear view mirror, and we've found that really useful already on the drive up to Scotland, so that's paid for itself already. Well, in fact we didn't pay for it, it was already fitted, but it's proved its worth already, I should say. So okay, moving into the rest of the vehicle now. We've got this is the kitchen. There's some cloths on here at the moment, but I should have taken those off, but I will do that. So we've got it's actually a double sink in here, so if I take that off, put that over there, I'll show you what they're used for in a moment. Take that one off there. So there we've got a double sink, and this was that waste bin that you saw on the outside, which is now full of rubbish. There we are. So it is useful. And in here, useful little storage area. We've got kitchen rolls in there, but this behind are the heating controls, so we can, this is hot water and central heating. We have tried them, despite the fact that it's really warm weather at the moment. It will run off electricity if we're hooked up, or it will run off gas if we're not. So we've got both of those features. That's a 12-volt socket, and that is a 3-pin socket for when we're hooked up to electricity, as we are now. So that's that. These things have got a little runnel down here, and they will slot in to this. I think I've got on the right way. Have I gone the right way? Oh, I've got on the wrong way. Just a minute. Turn them over. It's a sort of chopping board surface on that side, so that will go in there, drop down, and along with the other one. So that will go in there. I'm going far enough over, but anyway, you get the idea. So we've actually got another area for, I don't know, putting the washing up or whatever. We'll see. They also go into these cupboards here. They've all got little lockable bits on, so they won't fly open as we're driving along. So you press that in, open it up, and there's a hole in there. And what we do is this will fit. Might have got it the wrong way around. Don't know. Let's try it. See if it fits. It does fit. That probably goes the other way around there, but anyway, you get the idea. That's that. Put that away in a minute. You have to close it till it clicks. So we've got cutlery drawer, which we've got all our stuff in now, and this big cupboard down here has got some racks, a couple of racks that will pull out, which is good. We've actually got a highlight of us is, look, somewhere to put the spices. We've travelled for 5.5 years now with boxes in boots of cars when we've had a car, or not at all when we haven't had a car, when we've been travelling in Asia and Americas and so on. So it's really novelty. That's the gas isolator valves inside. So I think there's cooker, central heating, and the fridge. That was the other one, yeah, which is a 3-way fridge. Okay, so clip that. This is the oven. So we've got 3 burners and an electric ring. So that probably be useful if we're on electric hookup. We don't want to use our gas, so hopefully we're going to find that quite useful. I'll just take these off here so you can see it. So we've got an oven at the bottom and a grill at the top. So grill in there. We've got other stuff stored in there, and a T-tail around the grill pan to stop it rattling when we're driving. Haven't actually tried it yet, but well, we did fire it to make sure it worked, but we haven't used it in anger. And then the oven again, which we got stuff in, that's the kettle. Good place to store the kettle when we're not running. Thanks very much, Corinne, for the kettle. It's been useful already. Beautifully clean oven. Almost a shame to dirty it, but I'm sure we will, because we intend to use it. A little step for Jackie because she couldn't quite get up to the upper cupboard, so we're hoping that won't be in the way. And then in here we've got our saucepans which stack together. Jackie was very excited about it because most saucepans don't stack, but those do, so we'll see how useful they are. Just close the lid down, and then here is a cooker hood, so that'll only work, I think it only works when we're on electricity. We'll see, but anyway, that vents straight out. And then we've got our other cupboards on here with little clicky things, and all our kitchen stuff in there, and so on around. I didn't show you the ones in the lounge actually. There's some in the lounge which we've managed to fill up as well. This one here, I didn't show you this either. This is the supply. The moment that flashing thing indicates that we've got no water, fresh water, because we left it empty while we parked up. We're house sitting at the moment for 3 weeks, so we don't need anything in it, so we've emptied it. So this will give all sorts of information, such as state of the batteries. I have to turn the 12 volts on first of all, and then we can look at 100% is that little symbol there means it's the leisure battery. There's 0.1 of an amp going into it at the moment. That's presumably from the solar panel. 14.3 volts, and then this is the battery there means it's the engine battery. So that's 13.7 volts, 100% charge, and again that's got. Oh no, I've gone back to the back one again. So I don't know. I've gone back to the. Anyway, so that means that we've got no fresh water, means that we've got no wastewater, and there's alarm. Of course, we've got no fresh water at all. So that's it. And then in here we've got, that's the time up there, that's the temperature inside, and the temperature outside. So it gives us a bit of information on there, which I think is quite useful. So turn the 12 volts off, and that's our little MiFi unit in there. So we turn that on, it finds a signal on the mobile network, and we can connected all our devices via Wi-Fi inside the van. If we're in an area where there is a Wi-Fi signal, we've got a booster. I won't show you that now, but I'll take pictures and it'll be on a blog post. Some hooks where we come in. There's the fridge. You press these buttons in to open it so it won't swing open, and nothing in it at the moment because it's all indoors except for something in there, Jack Rabbit. Oh, yeah. And a freezing compartment, small freezing compartment, but we hope it's going to be enough. We'll see. Now this fridge, it shouldn't be closed actually. We want to leave it slightly open because we're not using it, so I'll just leave it just like that. This is a three-way fridge, so at the moment it's off, but it can run off the battery when we're running the vehicle, when we're driving. So it runs off the main vehicle battery, not the leisure battery. It'll run off gas when we're camping, or if we're hooked up to electricity, it'll run off 240 volts. So we have to swap it over on this one. Some of them they will intelligently move from one to the other, but we haven't got one of those, so we've got to do it manually. So but we think that's a small price to pay. That's presumably because of the age of the vehicle being 11 years old, I suppose. Wardrobe, which is got some clothes in, that will be full before we leave. They're all indoors at the moment at the house where we're house sitting. And then looking back, we've got now this is the toilet. So if I open this door, look inside, I have to hold the door open because we're on a bit of a slope here. That's the toilet. There's a little lever down there which you have to operate. just under there, put it forward, and that opens the thing into the waste, and then close it afterwards, and just to flush there. Spare toilet rolls, kitchen sink, bathroom sink. Open this door, and we got some stuff in there, access to the waste if we need to, and storage of toiletries and what have you. Toothbrush holder, soap dispenser. This is a, so you can see me in there, down like that. That's a little door in there that you can store some more stuff. Like these little shelves on here to stop anything rattling and falling out. Now, one of the features of this, if I come in and just close the door now, here we've got a little, if we turn that, then that releases that, and we can open this right out to here and lock it into there. And what we've now got is an ensuite, effectively, because we've got the toilet and the wash basin, and that's the shower in there, which I'll show you in a minute. And this is our bedroom here, which hopefully you can see. We've got it all just about made up. It's a bit scruffy at the moment, but we've got some little reading lights up here either side, little shelf above to put books and what have you, storage cupboards. We're hoping we can get all our clothes into there, and then a corner cupboard. We think that's probably for a television, but we won't be doing that. That little white thing is an alarm clock I've got, because I always like to know the time at night. There is a 12-volt supply in there. You might be able to see it up there. I've got it plugged in so that when we're on battery on a campsite, then it will light up and glow very gently at night, so I can see the time. So we'll see how useful that is. Okay, so shower. Let me pull this open, and you can see here it is in here. We have used it. These are the lights around, very psychedelic lights. They are just white lights, but they're all around there. Little rail at the top for hanging the washing on when we want to. And that down there is one of the vents for the heating, should we need it. What else can I tell you about that? Nothing much really. It's a shower. So there we are. We can have a shower in there. We've been in and we've tried it, and it does actually work. We did have a bit of a leak actually, which we think because we were on a slope, it leaked down in the bottom corner there. So we might have to make sure we close this right up to stop the water coming out. I don't know, so we've got to experiment on that. Hopefully that's not going to be causing any problems. So I'll now put this back into its normal method. I have to do it from inside because you have to lock it on the inside. So down there, difficult to do with one end, but I'll try. Yep, done it there. Okay, so that's it. So I'll come out. And what else do I need to show you? Oh yes, there's these are the steps in here. So it's fairly high, as you can see in there, because underneath is the garage. So you know we prefer to have the big garage space to carry all our stuff, and have to put up with that. But we can access. Just get my knee on there so I can do it one-handed. Clip that back in there. That then rolls down to make it look a bit tidier, and then we open in here, and that's that big box you can see in the garage. And in here we've got access to the garage. Doors are closed now, it's a bit dark in here, but hopefully you get the idea. You've seen it anyway. So that enables us, we're thinking we might leave shopping and what have you down there to access it as we need it. Okay, so under the cupboards on the floor here, this is gives access to the freshwater tank, and the black one is the grey waste. It's the pump for the water. This pipe here is the
pipe from the hose in the cabinet outside, so that will fill in there, and then we've got all the distribution boards going off to the various places. These are the sensors so that we know how much water's in each. So that's that. And under here, under my shoes, which I'll just move out of the way, this is by the front door. So in here are the leisure batteries, and we've got 2 leisure batteries. A lot of people only have 1. We've got 2, and there's probably space for a third one if we want it. So that should give us ample opportunity to wild camp for some considerable time. So we'll see how those go. The main vehicle battery is actually in the cab underneath the panel down there. You can see that's the stop lock which I've got for the steering wheel. So it's under that panel there, and then obviously the engine is not under there, that's in the front. I think that's about it really. Can't think of anything else. If I can, I'll add it later, but I think that's it for now. So thanks for watching. Bye now.